I'm Darek Mazzone, KEXP, and this is Immigrant Songs. I am here with Gino from Culture Shock and Val Kiosowski from Culture Shock. Two immigrants, musicians, and we're going to talk about what the immigrant experience has been like for you guys. I know it's really broad, but the main gist is we're looking at a bunch of things, but like what makes a immigrant musician different than a native-born musician? Some musicians were never musicians in a native country until they came to the States. But you guys were different. You guys were musicians before coming here. Gino, you were quite the pop star before coming here.
Yeah, I was cute. I had bangs and hair, and it was 80s. 80s are kind of blurry for everybody who lived in 80s. 80s are blurry.
But you were a pop star in Yugoslavia, and Val, you were in bands in Bulgaria and Sofia.
I was a prog rocker and basically spent years and especially the last couple of years while I was still in Bulgaria and playing in support of the democratic opposition against the totalitarian system over there, and that's what more or less brought me up here. Yeah.
So did you leave because of your political activity? Did you leave because you're like, okay, I want to find a better life or better music? What brought
kind of
you?
both, because I was pretty much a firm believer that finally we're going to end these 45 years of nonsense experimentation that was going on over there, that destroyed perfectly good country, that even avoided the World War II. It's unbelievable that there was not much damage. It could have been just fine. I thought that it's going to go in direction of a normalcy and freedom of speech and democracy and multi-party system. And economically, from there on, can go wherever, more than likely, some form of a mixed economic system. That was my dream. And in the first free elections in 1990, the communists won again. And
that's not possible.
Bulgarians are very mellow people.
Okay.
Unlike Romanians next door that just lined up the guy against the wall and ended it right there and then. My people wanted to do a gradual transition so nobody gets hurt. It's the mentality of the country. The country works, and people cherish labor a lot, and they're not much into fighting.
Okay.
So the more slaughter is being avoided, the better everybody feels. But that ultimately ended up being a detriment because for the next 10 years, as I was thinking in my head, this is going to last forever, ended up holding the development of the country. And that's why in 1990 I was on tour with my band back then in West Germany, and I just never came back.
You never came back?
I defected, yeah.
Okay. So were you planning on coming to the States, or were you going to hang in Germany?
I was ready to go anywhere where there's some form of a sanity and normalcy. So I applied for political asylum in West Germany, which shortly after reunified, unified, not reunified, unified, and I applied in the States as well. But the American decision came faster, and just they loaded me on a plane. The International Rescue Committee just loaded me on a plane and sent me stateside.
Okay. Ended up in Seattle or different city?
Well, they kind of gave us a choice. It's like, where do you want to go? And for whatever reason, my back then drummer, Boris Yochev, who was the original drummer for Culture Shock here in the States, we came together and we were like, where the hell are we going to go? New York, too big. Chicago, too cold. L.A., makes no sense. All this glam stuff is going on. So, and we heard that there's a nice upcoming music scene in Seattle. So I was like, let's go there.
Let's do it.
The farthest possible.
Okay. Okay. All right. So you came here with the intention of continuing to play music.
Of course.
Okay.
Of course. That was one of the ideas, and I tried a bunch of very bizarre things to get into the scene. But one of the things is I had not the faintest understanding of what was going on musically, because the grunge were just taking off. and I had no idea where its social or political roots are, and its musical background, because it has ton of blues into it, and I've never been into it. So as much as I was riding this whole tide, because I was working at the off-ramp back then, cafe.
Long metal wristed soul.
A lot of it blew over my head. I was like, I don't understand exactly why these guys are so excited about all this. And
is it because you didn't have a blues background coming from?
No, it's not just that. It just I came from Europe, which has generally very polished, produced sound, and grunge by its nature was extremely raw, and I didn't quite get it. And
did you feel amateurish?
Me?
No, did you feel that did you feel that it was amateurish?
No, not by any means, because these guys were players.
Okay.
Most of them, they were players. It wasn't that. It's just like the feel of it, the darkness of it. I didn't understand it initially.
Interesting.
It took me a few years to get to understand how the country is functioning, what leads to what, and to read through some of the lyrics of it, through the whole drugs and alcohol and sex scene of the early 90s. It just took time to sink in for the whole thing.
Okay.
Plus, my English was pretty basic on arrival, and it takes time to get into the details and to figure out what the roots of a movement like it, because it was a musical movement.
Mm-hmm. But it was different than the musical movement that you would have been used to in
completely
the East, because it didn't have an agenda per se.
No, it did not. It was its main agenda was to, I think, it was to end the glam rock.
It was cultural.
It was cultural. It wasn't political. It was social as well. Up until they started selling grunge clothes and Nordstrom's. That's when it ended, about 94 or something.
Well then, that's culture.
Yeah.
That appropriates. Gino, what's your story? You were a pop star.
Hey. It's quite different because I lived in former Yugoslavia, which was, how can I say it? I mean, it was kind of pretty much a Hong Kong of Europe. We were a socialist country, but we basically didn't belong to the East Bloc or the West Bloc, and we were fine until the democracy. Actually, it's quite opposite. Until the democracy came in, until they started mistaking our political leaders when they got out of the jail, because our today's political leaders were in jail during the Tito's time for spreading hate. Once they got out of the jail, they formed their national, which means religious parties that fought each other, and after millions of deaths, the war ended. So basically, when democracy came to my country, we were screwed. we die. A lot of people die. Now I'm thinking, like, what's the right way to go here? Is really democracy the right way to go? So I'm not going to go into my own personal opinion. So basically, one morning my condo was on the river of Sarajevo. I'm from Sarajevo, from Bosnia, and my mom's condo is from the other side of the river. And every day I would go to my mom's to see how she was working at the time, and so I would be. One day, I got there a little bit early, and the bridge closed, and that's where I stayed for 3.5 years.
So you realized? Did you know that it was going to be?
Of course not. I mean, that was amazing. If I stayed out late that night and partied and woke up at 3 p.m. or afternoon, I would be stuck over there. Probably I would not go to this part of Sarajevo. I would be in the part of Sarajevo that was controlled by the Serbs. Probably would run away from being mobilized to fight, because I am not shooting at anybody in my life. There's no way I'm going to do that. So basically, if I didn't do that, neither I would start musical hair in Sarajevo, neither I would be I would meet Phil Alden Robinson, Joan Baez, who helped me later on come over here and on the international visitor visa. Neither I would come here, meet you, meet Val. Culture shock probably wouldn't exist. It's amazing how life is so circumstantial of one moment, and I don't even know why I went out that early and crossed the bridge. So that's my story. So I stayed for 3.5 years in the other part of Sarajevo.
During the war?
During the war.
Were you still singing? Were you still in a band? Or?
Oh, well, my band, Gino Banana, was...
Gino Banana,
yes.
everybody.
yeah, it's actually...
People who listen to Culture Shock go, Gino Banana.
Yeah, it's
That's
basically...
a metaphor.
Yeah, but well, you know, it was 80s. Come on, man.
I'm with you. No
Everybody,
judgment.
you
I
know.
love it.
Don't judge me.
So sensitive today.
It was good times. And in my book, you know, when you're young, you need that. You need to be famous, you need to be on television, you need sex, drugs, and rock and roll. You need all of that stuff. And you need, your art is more prone to be commercial than later on. I mean, I know it's the different policy today between the old, you know, on the music scene today, you see Sting, who was changing the world when he was young, and then later on, when he grew up, you know, he became a $30,000 couch, you know, pretty much, you know, very conventional music.
Okay.
And
That's a good line.
with me, it's the other way around. I think it's logical, because when you're young, you need that stuff. When you're old, you older, you got more wisdom, so you kind of figure out what's important, and that in combination with the war, I kind of figured out that life's too short to waste it on stuff that you don't like.
Got it.
And you can die any single moment. You can die in the next 5 minutes, you know, of the sniper, shell, shrapnel. You know, my friend, too many people died, actually. I'm not going to start remembering that stuff right now. Anyway, but you can die in every 5 minutes, and you still didn't do what you would like to do.
Got it.
You're kind of playing because record label told you, and at that moment I was in the position where I had to work very closely with the record label. You know, they were planning my records. They were selecting the songs that were going on, although they were my songs. But you know, they were selling those songs. Okay, they were selling well, and I had money, and it was all fun. But I still didn't do. I was looking with a desire to all of these, you know, garage bands, thinking like, I'd like to do that, but there is no way for me to do that. So when I came over here, after the war, I came on an international visitor visa in order to bring the musical Hair that we performed during the war in Sarajevo, with the help of CNN and Phil Alden Robinson who directed Field of Dreams, and John Baez. I came over here. First we came to New York City, then Washington, D.C., and then L.A., and then somehow under the advice of Ruby Marchand of Warner Music International, I tried Seattle, and that was actually the best place for me, because it kind of reminded me of Sarajevo when it was in one piece. Nobody cares if you're green, white, black, whatever you are. You know, it's kind of it's pretty multicultural. Of course, it has weaknesses later, I figure out, but like everybody does.
You know.
So yeah,
go ahead. Finish with that.
So pretty much I came over here to do theater. I wrote a theater play that...
so not to play in a band, you came here to theater.
I came here to... It was a musical theater that I wrote music for. We wrote a play about the play, how we did play in Sarajevo.
Okay.
Behind God's Back was the name of the play. My friend Amir Besholezi and myself came over here and made that play here at the Group Theater in Seattle Center.
Okay.
Where right now Shakespeare Theater is.
Okay. So let's go broader and let's talk about this country that now you've made your home.
It is home.
It is home.
It is.
For all three of us. Are you doing the things that you wanted to do in the old country? Are you doing them now in the new country?
Yes and no. Of course, like every artist, my goal was to be a professional musician, and that's what I was right before I left over there. When I came here, this country is not conducive to people feeding themselves out of their art exclusively, because very many people are trying to, on one hand, and second of all, because it has a social system that doesn't allow that. So it requires hard work to be able to pay your day-to-day bills. So I never expected that I'm gonna marry an American girl, that I'm gonna have two wonderful daughters here, that I'm gonna own a couple of bars.
So you're a success.
And a band that has international recognition and acclaim, even though it stayed non-commercial for all the time I've been with it, which is absolutely amazing. So yes and no. In a way, I'm very happy with my life. Did I expect it? No.
Would you have been able to do your life in Bulgaria?
Doubt it.
Doubt it?
I doubt it.
You're now doing non-commercial music, which is what you wanted to do. You've had these life lessons. Terrible life lessons.
But let's be frank. When I was young, I chose to be on television. Nobody put a gun in my head. Basically, I'm a fortunate man that I always do what I like.
But you're now doing it. So the music that you're making right now, which is I wouldn't say overtly political, but it has a strong statement. Yeah. And it's free-ish. And could you do that kind of music? Would you be, country Mohammed? That might be a tough song to get on the airplay in Kosovo or in Bosnia.
There particularly, it was easy. There with Bosnia, it was easy.
Did we play country Mohammed in Kosovo? We played in Kosovo last summer.
I think we did. We don't have any censorship, dude. We played Macedonia in Greece,
so you're fine.
I know there was a conversation in the band. It's like, are we gonna do this? Is it sensitive politically, culturally, and all? I think we did it after all.
I think people trust us.
So why do you think? So you've been someplace else, and you're here right now, and you're a musician. So your job is to tell stories, and it's not just your own stories. Your job is to tell a reflection of other people's lives stories. What do you think is it about this country that allows you to do that? And I'm not trying to wave the flag and sugarcoat it, but there's something about this place that allows you to take risks, take chances. Yeah, whereas in the old country it was like, who the hell are you?
In my case, I don't know. I mean, in my case, I was a prisoner of my own success as a young kid there, because when I was 16, I was a drummer in a pop band, and then I, branched from the young band, to be a singer, and it's pretty much. I never tried. I never started like everybody else from the, back home from the garage. Of course, I'm gonna want what I don't have over there, but nobody put a gun on my head. It was fine. Here. What is the, when the war stopped, I went back to start a new life, but the world changed. Amazingly so.
Wait, you went back to
I went in 1995. I went back to see if we can do it. But then I figured out, I was actually invited to the Ministry of Culture over there, and they told me that I am a secular artist. And every single thing, especially my engagement in the war, because I wasn't before the war, but my engagement in the war, and right now the recognition on the West, writing these new theater plays, pretty much went in a secular way. And like that, I do not have a place in modern Bosnia and Herzegovina that was strictly divided on Orthodox, Catholic, and Muslim. And I needed to pick a side, and I did not. Of course, you guys all know me, so what do you think I did? So I came back.
You didn't.
I came back over here. So it's amazingly so. I came back to United States for the secular opportunity. We would never say that, but yes, I came back over here, and also I came back because I really couldn't. I was a prisoner over there of my previous work. It would never happen that I'm going to make this monster, as a band. Even if I would never find musicians that I'm playing over here with, and they would never find. It was destiny that we met together. But besides that, let's say that miracle happens, and I find musicians over there to make something similar that we made over here. It would never fly there because I was too recognized as a pop musician. People.
Got it. You couldn't reinvent
Christina
yourself.
Aguilera, regardless how good of a singer
market.
she is, she's not going to
She's
change
not
herself
going to.
right now. There's no way. And that's a small market. You saturated people with your persona, who you are.
Got it.
There was no way. I mean, for me, over there, the only way back to TV was reality show, and that's not happening in my life. So and
Don't count it out.
No way. You're gonna find me at the beach when I retire. No reality shows. I told them that. And so when I came over here, I really saw. First of all, I didn't even think I'm going to do music because there's so many musicians and so many bands over here. Well, nobody's waiting for me to start a band over here. Nobody's still waiting for us, But I figured out, at least for my own sake, I can now play and I can now go and make ourselves, a garage band that play whatever we want. Because it's a new world, nobody knows me. I took advantage of nobody knowing you to start a whole another life, and I really could not believe that 20 years later, we're going to be sitting here after 1,000 world shows from 2002 till now with Val, at this age that we'll be still touring like nobody out there. It's amazing. I did not expect.
So it's a
with
success.
the strangest music, actually. It's not right. I played commercial music then. Now I'm not. It's the other way around.
What's it like playing with Americans?
I actually like a lot playing with Americans. Why? Mostly with American drummers. That's something
Definitely.
that Gino Mario, our ex-guitar player, and I, we have discussed it. It's like, why the hell do we like playing with American drummers? And Mario's theory, he verbalized it first. He was like, because they play ignorant. They're very skilled, but they're playing unrefined. They played with a conviction to kill that goddamn drums.
Okay.
Europeans, because of cost of equipment and all, and the venues over there and stuff, legacy. It's like everybody's refined, very technical, very skillful, but nobody hits that goddamn drum.
Okay.
Americans, when they hit it, they mean it. And the same thing is how our other American bandmates play too. Guy Davis, he came from the prog grunge band Sage. Paris Hurley, she's just dynamite. And Amy Danayo, multi-instrumentalist, and
all amazing musicians.
Yeah, it's very open mind for absolutely everything. And when they work. When Americans work, they're extremely focused, something that our musicians back home, by conversations with them, they're just acquiring this quality. Mm-hmm. So, okay, we quit drinking beer. We have 1 hour and a half to do this kind of a job. And American life is very fast. Nobody has time to screw around, and, we get together, we get shit done.
Okay. Okay.
And it was very refreshing and a good experience. Very kind of for me, it was very positive.
Cathartic.
You have got to create on demand. The demand is now. You'd better deliver.
Okay.
And doesn't matter what the circumstances are. Did you get a parking ticket? Your wife yelled at you, or you got drunk the night before? Nothing matters. We have 2 hours to get the job done.
Okay.
And it's an interesting work ethics that this country has, and I admire that. I like that a lot.
What is it like to play with girls that aren't just singing? Because in most bands, usually it's just a bunch of guys. Or there's a girl that's just singing.
It's not that they're not just singing. They're badass musicians.
They are, but what is that like?
I was spoiled. We don't think about it right now because we have them.
That's just how it is.
We have them. But right now, when I'm thinking about it, me as a singer, I am so happy right now. I mean, before with Amy and with Paris, you have whole another two frontmen that can come and take the stage away,
for a moment.
For a moment when but it's kind of I'm getting old, so I'm getting kind of tired of myself. And if I'm tired of myself, I can imagine how people are tired of me.
And the good thing is they're doing it without ego. They just are such a great performers,
good team
and
players.
instrumentalist and vocalist that not even a team playing. When they do something, they mean it and they do it 100%, and that translates to the audience very, very easily. It's a trust. That they're not trying to fake it, they're not posing, it's just being some crazy violin or clarinet or a vocal performance that comes out of these two musicians. People forget about their gender.
Yeah, but the world should get over that thing.
No,
I mean,
for sure.
We all, we're all
it
musicians, and it hasn't.
It
yes.
hasn't,
and
but
somehow
that's
it's
why-
normal. Yes, it's
that's
somehow
why
it's
this
normal
question is
for the
relevant.
girls to be, to be singers, and not normal to be badass, the best musicians in a band.
It's
you
more
know,
normalized here, but
more normalized here,
Yeah.
still not.
in the old countries, it's very, very rare, if not unheard of.
True.
To have that
it's
kind of
not
dynamic.
unheard of, but it's getting, it's getting there. It's getting there, and I am happy that we are an example over there, and that we are helping it happen over there.
And you're
so that's
representing
one of my
Seattle very well.
Yeah, it's not just that, but it's like we've built such a over the last 8 years in which this particular formation with Paris and Amy has been on stages. We've built such a level of trust within the band, within 6 of us, that really projects in our offstage interaction from the moment we step in the venue. Nobody can approach Paris and say, "Hey," being patronizing, because they see how we approach them as a complete and total equal and respect to the colleague artist and a friend. So all the tech crews or the club owners or festival people, now they automatically switch their behavior to like, oh, so I should respect that person as well. Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Right.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's just we are so music-oriented band, and it's not that we're not partying. We're partying too, but not when we're working.
Less than when
no,
we
not
were
when
young.
we're working. I'm dry. I don't smoke. I don't drink. I don't do anything on the tour. Absolutely nothing.
Okay.
I'm not that ascetic in my private life. Later on, but it's just the music is the most important thing, and everybody's there because they're musicians, and we're presenting our piece of art.
Got it.
And that's where the focus is, rather than, and it's also age. I mean, Paris is much younger than we are, but, she aged with us too.
Yeah.
In a good
she
way,
was a kid when she started.
in a good way.
Yeah.
So I totally understand. So last question, and I always finish off with this. You have people trying to get to a better place. Either they're trying to escape a hellhole that is Eritrea or Syria or Iraq right now, or Afghanistan,
Yes.
too many. Or they're just trying to get a better life. They're trying to get out. So you guys are successes. And what would be, just quickly, a couple of bits of advice from your lives as immigrants, but more so as working immigrant musicians, artists in the States? And if somebody was to just land off the boat or off the plane or walking, they don't know what the hell is going on. They've heard things, they've seen stuff on TV and in movies, but the reality, what would be the thing that you would impart on them?
My advice would be to stay who you are and not give in, because there are certain expectations from you when you come here, let's say as a musician, as an artist from a third world country. They want you to dress in white and put the candles around you and sing hum songs, And if you're playing rock music, you better be from one of the Anglo-Saxon countries. Or if you're playing, if you are trying to cater to the media or to the audience or to anybody, chances are you're not going to succeed as much as you are staying yourself. This is a good field. America is a great field to do what you want to do and what you like to do. So don't be afraid to do to go and start something that nobody else did. I mean, if you're not from Germany and or England or United States or Holland, if you're playing rock music, you're already characterized. I mean, by the left media. You are already characterized into the so-called, your next Poison or next 80s hair metal, glamour metal thing.
They try to find
they're trying. They're trying to put you, and everybody is going to try to put you in their boot, because that's what they do. That's what people do. Because it makes them feel better about themselves, I guess. Just don't listen to anybody.
Okay.
And that's he's correct in terms of the creative life of an artist and musician. One thing that I gotta mention is that I find immigration to be one of the hardest things that can happen. I do not understand this whole xenophobic, idiotic, hate and rejection filled wave moods both in Europe and here in the States that rejects people because of fear. None of these people have left there because they have an amazing life. Many of them left because they were going to be dead. So it's a hard thing to decide to do, to get to do, and to survive while doing. But then once you're in a safe environment of a first world country, from my personal experience as an immigrant, you have to decide where you want to be. Do you want to have half of your heart always be home and be constantly heartbroken, or you wanna accept your new home, embrace it, and try to make it better with everything you know, but knowing that this is your home, this is your place, that's where you will belong, and that's where your life's going to unfold from now on. It's like a rebirth in a way. And I've seen so many people that literally they had a miserable existence because they're always trying to recreate their hometown here in Seattle or somewhere else, and it doesn't work that way. It's somebody else's land. Somebody gave you a hand. Somebody gave you a chance.
Totally right.
Okay.
It's a fine line between being yourself, staying yourself, and trying to recreate the life that you had there. Yeah. It's a different life.
Not just that. Sometimes it works in a better way. For instance, I played rock music all my life up until I met these guys. I'll never even imagine that I will learn to love, perform, or be known for Balkan folk music. That just happened here, and it happened naturally, organically, and you just have to be open to the experience and not shut it down. If you come here and you play saxophone, if somebody invites you to play jazz somewhere and you used to play folk in Iraq, just play jazz, whatever. Bring your take on it, but embrace it.
There is something about that. I was also pop musician, I don't remember doing any folk music. I do know how to do it since I was in the army in Skopje in the Roma community, and I pretty much know how to do it, but I never felt a necessity to do it before I came here. And I did not know on the plane when I was coming over here that I'm going to play folk music. It just felt like a natural thing when I'm here to play something that is going to connect me with home. So it's rather be music than the lifestyle that I'm going to try to transfer.
So so the music was the thing that was the connection to your past.
Yes.
You didn't need to only eat Balkan food or wear Balkan clothes or anything like that.
Exactly.
Music was the way. That's very powerful.
Yeah,
that was basically the reason why I started this thing. Okay. I mean, why I started doing Balkan folk music and Roma traditional stuff.
I found sanity in it for myself because I already had a established life and everything. I was happy and everything, but there's part of you is a creative type that it's always kind of missing. But when these guys invited me to join the band, and I started to discovering my heritage, because I consider the Balkans one big country. I don't separate anything from Ljubljana to Istanbul. Is the same damn thing. And I started discovering my Balkan roots and the intonations and rhythmics that are so embedded in me that I'm not even questioning. Gino started singing a song, I jumped into a second voice without even thinking. I was like, I know how to do that. I've heard it all my
Okay.
life, you know.
So it's just absorption and then sharing.
Yeah, yeah. But it turned around because of the experiences here.
Yeah,
and
yeah, but
you know,
but here you are representing that culture.
Yes.
In your own
Yeah.
Here you're
interpretation.
representing, and over there there's something called Balkan complex. And your drummer remark was very true because our drummers, no, your drummer remarks about our drummers back home, they're not good enough as they know everything pretty much the same as Chris does over here, but they don't dare to play ignorant because now they're jazz musicians, and jazz is something in their mind that it's cool. So and there is something called Balkan complex. If you like, pretty much you guys have it here too, like country complex of a country music. Like there's amazing stuff in bluegrass music. The whole soundtrack of Our Brother Verado is amazing. You should be proud of your culture and your heritage, not be ashamed of it.
Unsophisticated?
But
It's
it is.
village?
It is. Yes, it is considered unsophisticated. It's considered villagey. But then when you move away from the because we're both from big cities, when you move away from there, that elitism makes no sense.
No.
Totally, and you come back and you rediscover the beauty that comes into that music, and the rest of the world is basically looking at it and pretty much taking and stealing what we have over there, and financially profiting on, like, there's all our music is pretty much taken by Austrian and German DJs, and amazingly so. You open those eyes when you're not there. When you're there, you can't see that. You can't see your
yeah, the people are still divided over there between narodnjaci.
Yeah. Folk and pop.
Folk or rockers.
Yeah.
Or rockers
Whatever,
and metalheads. Rockers and metalheads never mix with the folk crowd.
Okay.
But
here they do.
In our world, that's the best thing that can happen to one.
Yeah. I understand.
That's what we do.
So the stew you created your own particular Balkan stew recipe.
Or they use the Balkan music over there to make fun of it. The new hipster culture is always ironic. You always have to make fun of something. There's less original creation, more fun about something, How about you making your own song, and then we'll talk about fun of making something. So what we do, what was the great write-up in Belgrade newspapers in Serbia when we played, is that we might be the only band that that I might be the only person from that part of the world, native speaker, who loves the songs. We love our songs that we're doing and that we are covering in a culture shock manner when we're doing our folk music. Where the rest of the bands are making fun of it,
So
are ironically responding
You're not being
to
ironic.
that.
You're actually
No.
We really
If
love
we don't like
it.
it, we don't do
But
it.
did it require you to leave to
Yeah.
appreciate that?
Yeah. For
and to
me,
absorb it?
definitely.
I kind of knew, but I started opening my eyes in a war. I would not. I'm totally. I'm a kind of war profiteer. I opened my eyes in a war. Yeah. Yeah. But not in a financial way. In my own way, I probably, if war didn't happen, I'd probably be a totally different person.
Okay. So this coming here, the war, all these circumstances. So like a evolved human being on both your parts, you guys took advantage of a situation that could have gotten you guys a totally different way.
Oh, totally.
And presented a life.
And we were not aware of that advantage at all.
I don't think you are.
Now we are.
I think it's just
now maybe,
happens.
but even now I'm like kind of what just happened kind of mood.
It's kind of bizarre.
Yeah.
For that matter, you can never predict what's going to happen tomorrow. I have no idea what the next 5 years are going to bring for the band and for our careers or anything. But that does not matter. The fact that I don't know doesn't mean that something is not going to
That's
happen.
kind
It's
of
not going
good
to be
because you have no
Yeah.
expectations.
And
It's just-
aside of next album and plans for the next album, we have no premeditation at all of any kind. What's cool, what's nowadays in, what's not.
No, there's never been a consideration.
Okay.
Never.
So you guys are writing your own song. You're writing your own story.
Yeah.
Perfect. Let's end it on that.
Cool.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Gino, Val,
Thank you, Darek.
Culture Shock. This is Darek Mazzone, and this is Immigrant Songs.